official job title, and what does that entail?
I'm the managing editor of the Hannibal Courier-Post. That means I'm responsible for anything that has to do with news. I edit the paper, I kind of decide the news and editorial direction of the paper, what goes on the front page, as well as manage our website and our social media accounts. We have Facebook and Twitter accounts, and we also have personal Twitters for all the reporters, as well as a sports Twitter. And so my responsibility is to make sure that the news side of the Hannibal Courier-Post is taken care of, and my responsibilities are managerial in that aspect.
Okay, and do you have a hand in the online component of the Hannibal Courier-Post, as
Yes.
in the website?
Yes. Our website is kind of, the template is controlled by our corporate owners. However, the content that goes on it is my responsibility as to when it goes on, how it's displayed, how the headlines read, and making sure that our website is with fresh news every day.
How did you come into the position of the major editor?
Well, I graduated from the University of Missouri with a degree in convergence journalism. From there, I took a job at the Lake of the Ozarks, where I was the editorial content manager. And as I had been in that position for 3.5 years or so, and I was kind of looking for a place that was slightly closer to home in St. Louis, and something that would take me a little bit further into the career. And Hannibal is owned by the same newspaper that I was at, and they had an opening here, and I applied and was offered the position.
So did you always want to be in this position, in this line of work?
Yeah, it's you have to have a certain temperament for it. It's not the easiest job. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of scrutiny from your readers and from your audience, but I like that challenge, and I like to be in a position of responsibility and of management, so this was a natural fit for that.
And what sort of classes did you take when you were in Missouri that helped you prepare for this
Oh gosh,
position?
there was a lot. Yeah, I did things on convergence reporting, so basically a multimedia class like the one you're in right now. We had some real-world experience courses where you were doing work for a daily newspaper or for the NBC affiliate broadcast. I did some work with Discovery Technology. I did courses on magazine and newspaper design, as well as an editing course where I was mentoring younger students as they were doing their work for some real-world news outlets.
So given that, going back to the online component of the Hannibal Courier-Post, given that the times are like dwindling and newspaper companies are dwindling, do you see that Hannibal Courier-Post is keeping up with the times?
Well, I wouldn't say that newspapers themselves are dwindling. From what I've experienced here, there's actually been kind of a renaissance with the newspaper market. It kind of depends on the market that you're in. Each market is different. Some places respond really strongly to new online or digital components. Hannibal sometimes does that, sometimes doesn't. But in terms of the way that Hannibal Courier-Post is keeping up, we're in a market that doesn't quite respond as quickly to some digital advancements as others. So we're pretty strong with our print component. However, we're always looking for ways to improve our digital offerings, and I think we've been successful in that so far.
And you said that you have a money-making business in the front part of the building. So what exactly, can you tell me exactly what helps you make money in the newspaper industry?
Well, first and foremost, it's connecting with our audience, making sure that our audience wants our product. We still have a very robust subscription market, and that has kind of changed to online subscriptions as well as print subscriptions, and some people get both. So that's probably the most important thing, that we are creating a product that our audience wants. That is probably the single most important thing for any business, is we have to make sure that we're connecting with the audience. And then once we have that personal connection, we can go out and connect with businesses for advertisements. We can make other contacts, people that would like to use our press, and start printing those. And those are some of our biggest ways that we make money here.
So tell me about the people that do use your presses to print.
Well, we have some outside newspapers that are not within our Gatehouse Media Group Monroe County Appeal, Rawls County Herald, those are just some examples. And they are small enough where they don't have their own press operations in-house. It's something that they cannot do, so they have to look elsewhere. And a lot of times this is the closest and most advanced press machine that is in the area that can get their customers the product that they want as well.
Okay. So tell me some positives and negatives of your job.
Oh goodness, the positives is there's always a story to be told. People love it when they are able to read a story that they can connect with emotionally, or maybe they didn't know something and that they learned. That's a rewarding thing for me. When members of the community say, hey, well, somebody saw this in your newspaper and then they made a change, or they came to an event because of something that you did, that's a rewarding thing. Probably one of the negative things is, and I think this really has to do with the advancement of some digital things, is everybody seems to be a journalist. If you have a phone, you can be a journalist. You can record something, you can send out a tweet or a Facebook message, and all of a sudden you are the authority on something. Whether or not you actually are, that's another thing, but that appearance is something that we have to constantly combat, is that we're staying on top of things and staying ahead and really make sure that we're putting out quality journalism and not something haphazard that you could maybe get on the street. And so staying ahead of that is probably one of our biggest challenges.
So given the technological advances, do you think that this helps getting stories and receiving stories from?
Absolutely. Social media is kind of a two-sided thing. On one hand, a lot of people can get on there and really criticize easily, or say that they have information which may or may not be true. However, I found a ton of stories that I thought were great ideas off social media. Finding stories in the news business boils down to how well connected you are to the community, and social media provides a much bigger tool for connection, and because of that we're able to utilize that to the best of our advantage.
Okay, and what do you hope to achieve in the position you are in?
Oh boy, well, so far I feel like we've achieved a lot just in my 7.5 months being here. We've kind of revamped our news product. There's a little bit more excitement about the Courier-Post these days than perhaps a couple years ago. So I'm proud of that. I'm hoping that we can continue to provide in-depth stories that people can use and want to read. And we're producing journalism that makes people say, hey, I wonder what's going to be in the Courier-Post tomorrow. I'm going to pick it up, or I'm going to get a subscription because there's things in the Courier-Post that I need to read every day. So that's probably my biggest goal. It's kind of an overreaching goal and kind of a big umbrella goal for our company.
Well, you seem really excited about your job. So do you see yourself in this position later in life, or do you hope to achieve?
Well, it kind of
greater
depends
status?
on the course of life. I enjoy where I'm at right now.
Okay. And is there anything else you would like to add?
I think it's important. There's a lot of people that say newsprint is dying, or there isn't a future for news, and I think people need to know that that's not necessarily the case. I think there's a lot of people that want to hold that product every single day. They don't like reading their news online, or they don't like getting it off Facebook. And especially in a community like Hannibal, people have really responded well to the changes we made on our print side of things. And so I think people need to know that newsprint itself isn't dying.